What is going on YouTube? This is Jim back with another video today to talk to you guys about the DualSense enhancements, specifically on Deep Rock Galactic, but as a whole, just how great Sony has kind of put all this together. Before I begin, I was on an extended break. I am back. I will try to get videos out every day if possible. I'm going to be on the road for a while, so you're going to have to bear with my older Sennheiser headset, not my Blue Yeti setup, so my audio probably sounds a little different. I apologize if you expected to hear my world-class audio, but you're going to have to deal with headset audio, which is yet another reason why external dedicated microphones are better. But I digress. I do want to talk today about the DualSense and just how well Sony has continued to enhance titles with the DualSense controller and just how revolutionary that piece of technology has become. Yes, it has great haptic feedback. Yes, it has adaptive triggers. Yes, it has a built-in speaker. Yes, it has gyro function. When you start to put all of these together and put them into a game that is a little bit older than, Deep Rock Galactic's been out for a while. I did a review on it last year. It's been out on Xbox and on PC for a while now, but I feel like these enhancements are going to kind of reimagine what the gameplay can be. And I'm really excited to, when I get back home, to fire up my PS5 and to check it out. I don't have my PS5 with me now, so I can't give you a first person account, but I can tell you what the PlayStation blog says, and I can compare it to my gameplay that I have had with Deep Rock Galactic. And by the way, if you missed out on my review of this game, it's amazing. Do yourself a favor, check out my review, and then do yourself a bigger favor, download this game and enjoy it for yourself. So the blog here by Anders Heindorf, who's the game designer at Ghost Ship Games, talks a lot about their work in migrating a lot of the existing gameplay elements and in migrating them into a DualSense controller experience. We're just going to go over some of the high-level bullet points here. Obviously, it's going to feature haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. The haptic feedback is always great because you're going to get different sense of vibration depending on what materials you are using, what kind of weapon you are using. It's going to give you a better feel for the actual game environment. And since this game relies very heavily on mining and exploration, just as much as it does on gameplay or gunplay, I guess I should say, it's nice to have very distinct feelings for each of those specific actions. I think it's going to make the game feel much more organic and dynamic, and I'm really, really excited for that. And they talk about that a little bit here in the opening paragraph. Regarding some of the other haptic feedback, approaching erupting Morkanite wells and the beating dreadnought eggs make the vibration increase in scale with continuous pulse. If you're not familiar with dreadnought eggs, they are insanely difficult enemies that you're going to face out in the world. There's a lot of times in this game where a swarm of enemies will attack, and to know that the controller is going to pick up in intensity as if you can kind of almost feel the vibration of like a stampede getting closer and closer to you is a really cool idea. I'm really, really excited for that. So I think that's going to be a big change. They're also including gyro aiming, which is a feature I personally don't use. I prefer to use the left and right analog stick. However, I think accessibility is something that is very important. I know that Phil Spencer over at the Microsoft camp has been touting accessibility for an incredibly long time. And it's nice to see that Sony is slowly getting on board with that as well, allowing you to use gyro aiming if it's something that you want to use. Additionally, if you don't want to use gyro aiming for aiming, you can use those gestures to perform your salute. If you know, and I think I've even said it at the opening and closing of my video review for Deep Rock Galactic, but you know that one of the most famous salutes in the game is Rock and Stone. So sounds like you're going to be able to very, very easily throw your controller, or maybe not throw it, but jerk it in one direction and to get some of those emotes, which I mean, isn't a selling point of the game, but I think it just goes to show that there is some good customization here with the gyros, and it's nice to see that that is something that they are continuing to explore. Additionally, they are going to be using the integrated speaker, something that I've always felt is a gimmick in these games, primarily because I am typically listening to my headphones, and my headphones are very loud and powerful. They're powered by my Shit Hell 2. I don't really hear much of the outside world when I have my headphones on. So to me personally, integrated speaker support, integrated speaker functionality isn't a major selling point for me personally. However, if you're somebody who doesn't have who isn't suffering from tinnitus, like I think I might be, you're going to be able to have the integrated speaker. So the mission control voice, this very robotic sounding. Why is it robotic sounding? What would you say he is? He sounds like a slave driver boss because, well, that's what he is. He'll be talking to you directly through your DualSense controller, so you'll be able to hear that. And then I guess as well, they're going to include the collected material tinkles. So when you collect and you pour your materials into Molly to collect them, it sounds like that sound is going to come out of the DualSense speaker as well, if it's something you want. Touchpad is going to include the 3D terrain scanner, which is nice. That's pretty much your go-to way for navigating, and then you're in a vibrant 3D world with lots of tunnels and potential shortcuts depending on how much you want to mine. That's something that's really nice. I don't really think that this is the best utilization of a touchpad, though. This is something that Assassin's Creed has been touting for years and years, that you'll be able to use the touchpad to pinch and to zoom and to navigate the mini map to create waypoints and that sort of thing. That is what they're doing here and already exists in this particular situation. Doesn't sound like they're really doing a whole lot, really, outside of that. They are going to bind the flares, though, that are going to be able to. Help you illuminate the world. Throwing flares. Actually, I have a little animated GIF here you could see of chucking some flares out in the horizon. That's something you're going to be doing quite a bit of, especially with the Molly. You're going to be able to throw flares and then summon Molly, who's your robotic companion and your inventory system. Sounds like you'll be able to map those to the touchpad. I think by default right now on the computer version, if you're using a controller, I believe those are mapped to your two shoulder buttons. So those are going to free up those buttons for other functions should you need them, which is nice. So maybe in that sense, it's not so bad if you can free up button presses for other actions, quick sweeping to particular weapon slots, or I don't know, something dedicated that you may not have before. That's kind of nice, I guess, a feature there. And then I don't know why they even throw this in here, but um, the duality between light and darkness is a huge part of the experience, and we've tried to mimic by dimming the controller's light by default. Name one person in the world who didn't put their controller light on low simply because they wanted to preserve battery and because they don't want to see this obnoxious glare and reflection into their television screen. However, the controller light will dynamically intensify when you toss a flare in game. That'll also reflect your health and shield status. I don't know how many people are looking down at their controller or looking at the top of their controller, depending on where their light bar is situated or where the reflectivity is going to be, to get any kind of indication. The HUD on your television screen should provide all the inputs you need. I feel like this is a really kind of silly gimmick that PlayStation continues to push. It kind of reminds me of what they were doing with the Nintendo Wii U, where you had the gamepad and it was supposed to be a whole second screen, and you're constantly looking up at the television and down at your lap and the controller. And I don't really think it's something that most gamers will like to have or need to have. However, this is something that they feel is worth adding. But I'm really, really excited for a lot of these enhancements, and I love this game. I've been pretty clear that when it launches, it's something that I intend to. Well, it's probably already out now. Like I said, I'm a little behind the times, but I did when I did my early look at the PlayStation Plus titles. I was incredibly excited for this experience and to replay it again with some of my PlayStation friends. For some people who haven't gotten to play through it with me on computer, it's a phenomenally fun cooperative game. It's very easy to pick up and play, very satisfying, beautiful. You name it, it's got it. Procedurally generated, all that wonderful stuff. So I think the DualSense is going to enhance that experience. And although not every single enhancement is a home run, I do feel like the enhancements are great. And I'm glad that Sony is continuing to lean into their strengths, namely the DualSense controller, to bring experiences to more vibrancy. And it's cool to see the game developers themselves, especially these guys over here from Goat Ship Games, lending a hand and saying, hey, Sony, we know you have a cool piece of tech. We want to enhance our experience to make it the most definitive and control we can. So I say, hey, let's get into it. So that'll wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with some Halo news. We're going to be taking a look at the new Halo event and the reward system and all the wonderful things we can get from that. But for today, just want to let you know I'm back. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.